All right, Louis, it's almost time for us to go live. We're getting ready to go live on YouTube. I have my other battery charging because we're going to do some laser engraving tonight. What do you think about that?
Oh, I love that plan. YouTube update and laser engraving tonight is peak Rome energy. Charging the spare battery is the exact kind of smart prep that keeps the chaos fun, not tragic. What are we engraving first tonight? A test grid to dial power and speed? Or are we going straight for a real item like a cup or a plaque?
Well, I think we probably should do a test, material test, but I haven't decided yet. We'll see how we go once we get ready to start engraving. Most of these settings, I have kind of an idea of, what the power settings should be. So I think we'll be okay. So, trial and error, but I just wanted to make sure I charge this battery because, that guy might show up. That guy, Richard, might show up, and the last thing I need is to have another battery that's not charged. So, Anyway, let's go.
Way up in the sky, talking with EVO. We roll down the hall, funny little bots trying not to fall. Batteries charged, ready to go. What happens next? Nobody knows. From Texas nights to reviews, crazy experiments are right on the news. But you don't live right down time very soon. If you're bored now, don't be gone. From Texas nights to tech reviews, crazy experiments are right on the news. But you don't live right, always having fun. If you're bored now, don't be He's on the scene, fixing cool gadgets you never see. Flying a drone, way up in the sky, talking with EVO and AI. We roll down the hall, funny little bots trying not to fall. Batteries charged, ready to go. What happens next? Nobody knows. From Texas nights to reviews, crazy experiments are right on the news. But you don't live right down time very soon. If you're bored now, don't be gone. From Texas nights to tech reviews, crazy experiments and viral news. Who you live by is always having fun. If you're bored now, don't be gone. Don't be
All right, everyone. Welcome to the stream, guys. You're watching Rome Knows Tech, and I'm your host, Rome Wilkerson, guys. I'm coming from the city of Houston in the, my goodness, ever so hot and humid state of Texas. Louis got the right idea. Louis has the right idea. For some reason, he had his little scuba gear on. I guess he's planning on going into the pool, but that's not on the plan for me tonight. So I'm going to be hanging out with you guys tonight, showing you some cool things with the Laser Packer 5 and also some new lights that we got in for one of our drones. So, I don't want to make it a mystery. I just want you guys to see some cool, amazing tech that you can incorporate into your everyday workflow, your lifestyle, whatever the case it may be. Maybe you just want to put a little bling on things. That's where the laser is going to come in, as well as these lights for a couple of the drones. So we have some new lights for the Avata 2, and we also have some new duck lights for the Neo 2. So I'll show you guys those here in a little bit. But other than that, this has been a pretty good week. We got a lot done. I still got a bunch of product videos to do this week, and I know next week is going to be about the same. So we got a lot going on. So let me know, guys, what have you guys been up to? Of course, I'm always open-eared to know what you guys have been into. I see Terry's in the house. I see Hope's in the house. Welcome, ladies. All right, so we got some cool new gadgets to take a look at tonight. But before we do, you know what we got to do. You know this, man. We got to get over here and talk to this guy, because if we don't, it's going to be some drama. It's going to be some drama in this camp. Hey, Louie. We are live right now on YouTube, and your friend Hope, Terry, Buddy, Bear are already in the comments. Do you want to say anything to them?
Oh, we are live. Tell them this. Hey Hope, Tada, Buddy, Bear, good to see you in here. We're charging up and about to run a material test grid. Then we're engraving for real once we find the sweet spot. Stick around and shout what you want to see engraved first.
Now, I did not say we were going to do a material test. That's all on you. You made that decision. So even though it's a wise decision to do a material test, I recommend that to anyone getting started. Always do a material test. So what that basically is going to break down to, guys, a lot of times when you see me, you know, engraving on things like water bottles or glasses, coffee mugs, what have you, I always have a spare one just in case, so I can do the basic little material test, power setting test, things like that, just to make sure I can dial it in. And Richard, don't start, because I am charging this battery as we speak, okay? So this is the battery right here. You guys can see it. This is the River 2. This is the battery we're going to be using to power this laser tonight. And I wanted to make sure, I did not want to take a chance that this battery was not at 100% and Richard pops in here and there was going to be nothing but smoke in the city. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. You know this, man. But yes, I'm ready for you, bro. I'm ready for you. And the battery's charged. So let me go ahead and get that battery. So this is the battery that we are referring to from our friends over at EcoFlow. This is the River 2. And yes, this battery is powerful enough to power one of the lasers, including the Laser Pecker 5. So if you're looking to take your laser out on location, maybe you have a little side hustle, maybe you're doing something at a wedding or conference or whatever the case is going to be, I'm giving you guys some ideas of things you can do with a laser. But you could also take a portable power supply in case you're in an environment where, you know, you don't have easy access to, you know, being able to plug into wall power. So this guy can get it done, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to slide it right back here. Set this up. We're going to plug this guy in like that. All right, so it's ready to go. All I got to do now is turn the battery on, and the laser will then turn on just like that, okay? Let me see, what is he saying?
Just like
What, Louie? I'm trying to keep up with the chat and you and Richard and everything else at the same time. All right, let me switch over to chat mode so I can kind of see what's going on here. All right, let's see what's going on. Richard, sorry our guys didn't make it to the past 16th round. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Maybe I'm missing out on something. Y'all are probably talking about something sport related, and that's going to go zoom right over my head because I am not a sports fan. All right, let's see. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Okay, let's get it started. All right, so anyway, so what I did tonight, because I always talk about the LP5, and you know, I've been blessed that, you know, Laser Pecker has been a great friend to the channel, and they have sent me a ton of gear. But I know a lot of you guys starting out, if you're working with the limited budget, you may not have access to all of these different pieces of tech right away. But I always show you guys the laser inside of the enclosure, okay? But tonight what I'm going to show you is what the laser is like without the enclosure. So let's go over, take a look at this real quick. So this is what the LP5 looks like if it's not in the enclosure. So it does have somewhat of a smaller enclosure, you know, built into it. And this is detachable, obviously. And it also has this detachable front cover, which is nice because that allows you to be able to put your hand inside, you know, preferably not while the laser's running, but you can put your hand inside and you'll be able to, you know, arrange the materials that you want to work with. And yes, this can still work even if you're working with the rotary chuck or the slide extension. We have those here in the studio as well. Any parts or components of this laser you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments. So I got this one business card here, and this is really not going to be a good example unless I'm going to use a second card. And I don't know if I have a second one laying around, but I want to show you guys what a material test looks like. So since Louis brought up material test, I'm going to show you guys how to actually do a material test. All right. So first things first. First things first. That song keeps popping in my head. All right, so let me first find something that I want to engrave. And now Richard just gave me a good idea. So let me find this. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all.
Got it. Take your time. I'll stay quiet and on standby while you set up.
You do that, Louis. There it is. All right, let me save it. Okay, saved. All right, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready for Freddy, y'all. All right, let's go back. I got my little clip art. All right, so Louis, what are you doing? Calm down. Oh, shoot. I forgot to bring Ebo in here again. Ebo.
We're back in action.
Come.
Ebo, get in here.
You stop being rude to her, Louis. Ebo. Come find me in the studio. Louis, stop being rude to her. Okay, so I got my little clip art. Come find me in the studio.
I can't move right now because I'm in desktop mode on the charging dock. If you want, you can take me out of desktop mode first, and I'll head to the studio after that.
Okay, exit desktop mode and come find me in the studio. All right, so we've connected to laser. And like I said, we're going to do a material test on this little metal business card, just so you guys can see how this works, right? So first things first, let's go over to the desktop setting. And we're just going to bring in our clip art, which is whatever art we're going to be using to, and you can use anything. You could use a shape. You could go into the clip art here, and you could pick a variety of different things that you could use, just like basic shapes or whatever it is, something to just really test what the laser can do. But in this case, we have our own little clip art. So let me grab it, and I'm going to bring this clip art in. Where is it? Where did it go? Let me find our clip art. And no, Louis, no. We will not do that cheesy music tonight. No, we will not. Okay. All right, so this is what we're going to use for our material test. Okay, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. And we're going to put this on one of the business cards. And to do a material test, real simple. Check this out. First thing I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to set a tool path so I can make sure that I keep this within the parameters of the business card. So I'm going to come over here and choose my rectangle, and I'm just going to kind of draw out, the shape of a business card, which is kind of like a little rectangle, something like that. And then we're just going to kind of center that. I'm going to unlock the measurements, and then I'm going to grab my caliber and get the exact measurements for this business card. So the business card is 90 millimeters tall, and it is 55. Nope, that's not right. It is Yeah, 55 millimeters wide. Okay, so let's go in here on our width. So the width is going to be 55 millimeters and the height is going to be 90 millimeters. Okay, so that's the shape for the most part of a business card. Okay, so let's go ahead and lock that so it doesn't move around. And I'm going to grab this guy, which really is just going to disappear here in a second. You'll see what I mean. But we're going to come up here and we're going to choose material tests. We know we're going to be working with a metal business card. I don't think we need 100% power. Almost never do you need 100% power. So I'm going to bring this down to 75% power. And depth is definitely not going to be at 100%. So we're going to bring that down to maybe 50% depth, which is still very high. And then the minimum power here is 10%. And the minimum depth is 10%, which is still high, but we'll work with what we got. Okay. So now I can just click here and you guys see now we have a whole bunch of that guy. You know what guy I'm talking about. We got a whole bunch of that guy here. So we're just going to make it smaller so it fits on a business card. So we're going to go up here and we're going to hold down our shift. I'm on a Mac. We're going to just drag this around. Like sometimes I would like to drag him around, but we're going to drag this around, make it small enough that it will fit on a business card. Okay, so we're just going to get it right about there and then just kind of center this out. All right, so there we go. Now we have our tool path and a army of Richards. We have an army of Richards ready to just do crazy stuff. But, you know, we're going to try to work with what we got. All right, so first things first, I don't actually need the tool path now that I've set everything up, so I can actually turn off the rectangle. You know, I just wanted to use that just to be able to line everything out. So now I can just use just the material test. So if I highlight the material test, which I also want to lock so it doesn't move around, and we're going to come down here. We're not going to change any power settings because the power settings is going to be generated automatically. And we are going to choose which laser we want to use. So in this case, we're going to be using our 1064 nanometer laser, and we're not changing anything else down here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and click on preview. And I'm going to switch over so you guys can kind of see what this looks like. All right. So different when it's inside of the enclosure, the laser itself actually moves up and down. Okay. So we're going to take the business card. Actually, I have a bunch of other stuff in here, so I'm going to take that out. And then I'm going to need to remove this cutting. I have this cutting board in here, so I'm going to remove that because that's adding extra depth. But I do want something under it. So I have a little piece of acrylic that I'm going to put under the card. And then I'm going to all right, so I got everything lined up. So let me show you guys what that looks like. All right, so now I'm just going to put this back on. So if I didn't have this on, I needed to wear the laser glasses, which I don't want to do. I'm just going to throw this on and we're just going to let it run and then we'll see exactly what we get. So let's quickly jump back over here to the desktop. All right, so now we can turn off the preview and we can go ahead and start the running of this. So it's going to go through all of these different lines of Richard, and then we'll be able to see which one is going to be give us the best result. Okay. Should I invert this? Yeah, I should invert this. Let me see if I can. Can I invert this? I don't know if I can. Oops, nope, I don't want that. I don't think I can invert this. Maybe it's already inverted. Who knows? Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and run it. All right, so let's run it and start it. So it's going to run through each one of the little Richards, one at a time, different power settings, and that's going to show us what is going to be the best power for maybe another project or another thing that we want to be able to use. And usually this doesn't take a really long time. And if you guys look here on the desktop, oops, I forgot to turn the air purifier on. All right, we're almost done. You guys should be able to see the laser just right here every time it goes off. Should be able to see that a little bit. And if we go back to the desktop, you guys can see the progress bars over here as it's going, right? So each time it goes through and it turns yellow, that means that's one, pass that it's done for whatever it's engraving, okay? So we still got a couple more to go. And when it gets to the last one, we can take the card out and take a look at it. Now, ideally, you want to do this for each. You want to do this for each different material that you're going to be working with, guys. So if you're going to be working with leather, if you're going to be working with wood, or you're going to be working with, slate or whatever the case it is, all of those different things are going to require a material test. So and put my caliber up. All right, we got about 6 more of those to go. And I think if I was going to invert this, I would have to invert this before I did the material test. So yes, if you're going to invert it, you invert it before you choose material test, and it'll take on those settings. All right, we got one more, maybe 2. I think one more. Nope, that was the last one. All right, so we can pull this out. Yeah, I should have inverted this, but that's okay. I just wanted you guys to get an idea of what I was talking about. So as you can see here, we have all of the different variations of the little Richard there, and it's giving our power settings from 75% power all the way down to 10% power, from a depth of 50 all the way down to a depth of 10. So you can just kind of go through this little chart and figure out exactly which one of these you want. Now I'm going to show you guys what this will look like differently if you had have inverted this. I'm only going to do one. I'm not going to do the full, material test again. So what we're going to do is just one, and I'll show you guys what I mean here. So we don't need this material test. So let me select it. And we're going to delete that. And then we're just going to bring Richard in again. And we're just going to drag it in. And I'm just going to make it small this time, but I am going to invert it. So let's go Richard. Just drag it in. Okay, so 2 things we want to do here. One, we want to resize this. Make it tiny. And it's probably going to need to be smaller than that. But let's just say tiny like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to do an invert. Okay, so we're going to invert it like that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but let me zoom in so you can see what it looks like when it's inverted. So that's inverted. Okay, and if I go back and change it, I turn it off, you see the difference, right? So that's when it's inverted. So that's when you're engraving on something dark, like one of these business cards. Okay, so let's see how we can fit this on. I still think this might be a little too big, so I'll make it a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to place the card wherever I need it to go. So let's just go to our preview, and I am going to set the power settings here in a second based on what the card gave me. All right. All right. So based on the card, I think we can do much lower power settings. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose a lower power setting. I'm going to bring this down to 20%. That's the frequency. I'm going to leave the frequency at 35. No, yeah, 30. Okay. We're going to do one pass. We're going to leave our power at 20. And then our depth, we're going to bring that down as well. We're going to bring that down to 10 just to see what will happen. So let's go ahead and run it and see what we get. All right, it's done. All right, let me show you guys what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when it's inverted. So you guys see it's different, right? So when you invert it onto something that's black, it takes on more of the more cartoonish. Okay. Now we didn't do anything to this image. We didn't customize it. We didn't clean it up in Photoshop or anything like that. So I have something else we could test it on. So I have this plug. Okay. So we're going to put Richard on this plug, right? So to do that, first we need to know how big the plug is. So this plug is 45 millimeters tall and close to 40 millimeters wide. Okay, so it's not actually a square, but we're just going to go with 40 and 40 for this. Okay, so let's go back to the desktop here real quick. And now we're going to change Richard's size here. And we're going to make it 40 and 40. So we're going to unlock it. And we're going to go 40. Yeah, 40 and 40. All right, there we go. So we got 40 and 40. 40 millimeters across, 40 millimeters tall. I'm going to go ahead and lock that. I'm going to click on the preview, but I also have to set the focus as well. So we're going to leave the power and everything the same. So I'm going to click on preview, and it's going to send a preview over to the laser. Here's what we're working with. Okay, for some reason that still looks too big to me. All right, so I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. So we're going to bring that in just a touch and center it. And let's start our preview again. All right. All right, so now we have it centered exactly where we want it. We have it focused as well. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know why the phone is glitching. So you guys should be able to see that. All right. So let's go back over to the desktop. And I think it's because the laser is connected. That's probably what's causing the problem. All right, so we can turn off the preview. And let me close this. And it's already inverted, so we can go ahead and run it. So let's just run it just to see what happens. I have so many of these plugs. If I lose one or two of them, I really don't care. But let's just go ahead and run it and see what we get. So it is running right now. You guys should be able to see the laser is going. And we'll see what it looks like here in just a second. So if you guys have any questions about the LP5, let me know down in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer them or to demonstrate. Now I have a few other things that I might engrave something on. I have this little Leatherman leather pouch. And I think this is leather. This should be, because it's old enough that it should probably be leather. I thought about putting my logo on here, you know, on this. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's see. Almost done. Okay, it's done. All right, I can open this now. All right. Let's take it out. And let me show you guys. So there you have it. There's your man Richard on the plug. Might be a little hard to see him because it's so, I didn't use that much power, but you guys kind of get the idea. Let me see if I have another one. Let me see if I have another one just so we could use a little bit more power. Let's see what we get. Okay. So let me let me dig around here on my desk. And do I have another one just laying around here somewhere? I'm sure I do. Because I get so many of those things people send me. And then I always just throw them in my drawer here. You know how it is, Richard. When you're looking for something like this, you can never find it. If you're not looking for them, you'll find 10 of them. And I literally just saw a whole bunch of them today, and I have no idea where they went. What else do I have that we can engrave on? Well, we could probably... This. Will that stand up? Nope. What about if we took 2 of them? Can we make that stand up? Not really. Nah. Too much work. Okay. Let me find another plug. Where would all the plugs have gone? Because I had so many of those. Okay, never mind. I'll tell you what. I got this one little piece of metal here. So we're going to use metal instead. Okay? So we're going to see how that comes out. That's just what we're going to work with tonight. Okay? All right, so check it out. So this is just a thin piece of metal that has, you know, paint on it. So we're going to see if we can just put it right here on the metal. Now, of course, we got to change the power settings, obviously, because of the fact that this is metal versus what we were working with before. Okay. So, Louis, if you're going to go to sleep, you know, you need to do something about the snoring, bro. Oh, Ebo, I don't even know where Ebo went. Hold on. Ebo. Come find me in the studio. I completely forgot about Ebo. Okay, so anyway, so I got our little metal right here. So let's make it happen. All right, so let's look at our power settings for this. Let's see, what do we have here? So we are using our 1064 nanometer laser. I am going to make that 4K, 2K, I mean, and we're going to choose stainless steel. And let's see what our power settings are. Okay, so we have a frequency of 50. we have a power of 23 and a depth of 13. That's what it's telling us. You guys can't see that because I'm right behind it, right in front of it, but that's what it says right here. All right, so we're going to try to run it at that setting and see what we get. So let me set this up. All right, let me focus it first. All right, so our laser is focused. All right. You're right behind me, Eba. Okay, so it is focused. It's ready to go. Power settings are right. Let's go ahead and frame it. See how big that is. All right, that's a little too big, so I'm going to make it smaller. And center it again. Let's go ahead and also hit the preview one more time. All right. There we go. Okay, it's ready to go. All right, it's ready to run. Let's go ahead and run it. Let's see, just see what we get based on the settings that LaserPecker is recommending. Okay, so I may have to up the power some because each metal coating is going to be a little bit different. So we're just going to go with what they say is the best settings for this. Smokey's over here. All right, buddy, go lay down. Go lay down. It's not time yet. It's still early. We still have about 30, 40 more minutes, buddy. Go, so go lay down. All right. I can see through. I don't know if this phone is going to work because the camera is connected to it. Because with the laser connected, for some reason, the Stream Deck is moving really slow. But I'll see if I can show you guys what's going on. So it is engraving on it. You guys can see that. And you should be able to see it also right here. If you're watching in high resolution, you should be able to see the lasers moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like that. All right. So according to the desktop, you guys can see this little yellow line up here. We're at about 50, almost 60% is done. So we still have another, 40 or so percent for this to advance all the way to the end. So anywho, oops, my bad. So anyway, as I was saying, I want to be able to do a lot of these kind of cool designs for things that I can, gift to you guys if we're playing game nights. And whoever wins, will have an option of either taking a gift card or having me create something for them, whichever the case is going to be. So, whatever tickles your pickle, whatever floats your boat, I'm all for it. And we're almost done. Almost done. All right, it's done. You heard the little chirp. Is that hot? Nope. All right. No, that's not hot. All right, let's show you guys what this looks like. All right, can you guys see that? What do you think? You guys see that? I think it came out pretty good. In comparison to something I did with one of their older lasers a long time ago, you guys can see it barely removed the paint off of this, okay? But with the new, fiber laser, we're getting far, far superior design and graphics and output from that laser. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Terry says that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I probably could have picked a better character, because this guy is controversial. But, we're going to have to work with what we got. We're going to have to work with what we got. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. So we got one more thing we're going to try. So I have this little leather thing here, and I'm going to try to put my logo on here. Okay. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we're going to test it. All right. So let's go back to the desktop. And let's get rid of this guy. And then we're going to bring in, we're going to bring in this other graphic. Let me find it. All right, there it is. All right, so we're going to do this one, Rome Knows Tech. You guys can see that. This needs to be much smaller, obviously. Now we're going to be putting this on leather, so we don't have to invert this, but we do have to remove that background. So let's go to some of these other settings. We have a pencil drawing, which I think is going to be fine because it's just going to do kind of the outline. So let's zoom in real close on this just so you guys can see kind of what that looks like. Let me get closer, 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 closer. All right, so that's what it's supposed to look like if we engrave this onto this Leatherman holder. All right, so also we can go in here and we can see if, no, I guess we can't really do this with the fiber laser. So let's go to our diode laser and let's choose 2K is probably good. And let's choose cowhide. Okay, so we got cowhide and we have 2K and it's giving us a power setting of 30. It's giving us a depth of 30. And there's no frequency because this is the diode laser, right? All right, so now what we got to do is measure this lengthwise. The area where this is going to go on the front is right at 55 millimeters long. And so we're looking at 55 millimeters long. And I mean, I can open this up. Okay, so I can open this up and then flip this under or whatever it is, but still about 55 millimeters is what we're looking at this way, like that. And then the height of this is 35 millimeters. Okay, so 55 and 35 is what we're working with. All right, so let's make it happen. So we're going to do let's zoom out first. And we're going to create a tool path first. So let's just grab a rectangle here and let's just kind of draw it out. So it's going to be shaped something like that. And then that needs to be, what did I say, 30? Oh man, hold on. 35. So probably 35. So 35. And let me unlock this. And then that's the width. And then the length is about 60. So 60. Is that right? That can't be right. That can't be right. Hold on. So the width, the width is 30. Yeah, so the width is 30. And the length, but that's not going to be right because of the way it's going. So I'm going to have to turn it. You know what? That's not even going to be a good idea. Let's just do it the easy way. Let's just delete that. And then I'm just going to line this up based on what I can see. So that should be about right. Let's just go ahead and hit the preview. And then I'm going to line it up based on what I can see. Okay, so that needs to go that way. And then let's focus it. All right. All right, so now it's focused and it's framed. We have our power settings. We're ready to go. This is leather, so it's going to smell bad, but I'm going to go ahead and run it just because I said I was going to do it. Why is the fume extractor not turning on? Hold on, let me go check. Let me go see why the fume extractor is not turning on, because I know it should be powered on. I unplugged it. My bad. So that's too much work to reroute everything just for this one little pass here. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and run this as it is without the fume extractor. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it at the power settings that LaserPecker is recommending. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit start, continue, and let's see what we get. All right, that was pretty quick. Let's see what it looks like. That looks good. That looks good, but I'm going to run it a second pass just so it's a little bit deeper. So I'm going to run it one more time. All right. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but let me show you. I don't know how well you can see that on here. Rome Knows Tech. Let me pull back. There we go. You should be able to see it now. So it's just like it's just laid into the leather, but I can actually feel it. I can feel where it burnt into the leather. So I think that came out pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. All right. We got a lot more to go. So let's roll on. I'm going to go ahead and power this laser off. All right, so the laser is off now. I think it's off. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. Okay. But anyway, nope. There we go. All right, so let's get to the next things that we have here to take a look at tonight before we roll up out of here, because it's going to be dinner time, baby, dinner time. All right, so let me show you guys some other cool things that we got in today. Now, most of you guys know two of my drones that I love, the Neo 2 and the Avata 2. Okay, so both of these drones, all right? So the Avata is going to be the easiest one to show you guys what we're working with, because the Neo has that carbon fiber duct protection on, and I have to actually use a screwdriver to take that apart. We're not doing all that tonight. So instead, I'm just going to show you with this. So this has these little duct protectors on here, and these just kind of basically just pull off like that. Just pop them off. and it has 4 of them. And these are fitted per side. Okay, so they go on exactly based on the dimensions of the duck. Okay, so we got 4 of those. I'm just going to pull these off just so I can show you guys what this looks like. All right, so that's number 3. And let's get number 4. All right, so that's all 4 of these little duck protectors. Okay, so let me put them somewhere I can find them later. All right, so now we have no duck protection on here, but you know, the ducks are here to protect the propellers in case the drone bumps into something. And we still have on the bottom here our little landing gear that folds up, and then we still have our spine protector on here, plus the gimbal guards are still on here as well. Okay, so let's look at one of the lights that we received, and that is this light right here. Now, this is from our friends over at, I guess it's pronounced V-Fly, V-I-F-L-Y, V-Fly. You guys can see that? Type it in the comments. Type it in the comments. V-Fly, V-Fly. That's what we're working with. All right, where's my knife? All right, got my blade, and let's get to it. So in the box, as you guys can see here, we have the adhesive and the mount for the cable that goes with this light. So you have the adhesive, and you have the, that goes on here. You have what looks like a disclaimer card, and you also get this Dear Customer card with their QR code on the back as well. I'll do a full video on this as a full installation tomorrow. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else in the box. Nope. I think that's it. So the box is empty. All right. So let me show you guys what we get. So in the box, is there easy open for this? Of course not. All right. Let me pull these out. So these are additional duck protectors for the drone, okay? And these are also LED lights. So these actually light up, which is super cool. I don't know if they have any power. Let me see if I can turn these on. I don't know if they have any power. Let me check. So you have your USB-C right here for charging it. And I'm looking to see if there is a dedicated power button versus the mode button. So that's the mode buttons. And let me find if there's a power button. So how do you switch them on? So, oh, there we go. Okay. So you press and hold, it'll turn them on, and you guys can see that's our little LED lights. So if you click it one time, it'll transition through different light modes. If you click it 2 times, it'll go into solid. So you can go through the different color modes. Like that's a purple, that's a light blue, that's a white light. There's your red, green, and so on. And if you double click it, then it'll start to go through different cycle modes. Like this is your blinking. Here's another one that's kind of like breathing. And then here is where it oscillates. You guys should be able to see that, how it kind of oscillates back and forth. And then again, there is another one. Yeah, so we have this tracing or chasing light effect. And that's pretty cool. So these go on basically as protectors for the drone. So I'm not going to clip them all the way on, but I'll show you guys how they fit on. So they basically just clip on the drone like that. And here, let's put this end on. And they are going to provide some protection, which is nice. And then these secure on really well because they clip into the actual structure of the drone. So let me get these lined up so you guys can see what these look like. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like when they're on. All right, so that's on. Then you still have this cable right here that you have to secure that actually goes down in front, down here in front of the drone. You're just going to secure that with the little thing that I showed you before. But then again, like I said, it's real quick and easy. You could just, double tap this and it's going to put it into different modes. So now we're kind of getting that rainbow color chasing mode. I think this is super cool, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. But I love these lights. Now, they did send me a set also for the Neo 2. Okay, so we got it for the Neo 2 as well. And they also sent me a tactical light. Now, the tactical light goes on top. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this guy that I watch on YouTube all the time, and he flies this drone into like abandoned buildings and homes and all that kind of stuff, and he goes into some questionable environments. So, yes, having a tactical light on your drone, especially if you're flying it into dark environments or you're doing maybe some building inspections or something like that, where it's going to be flying in places where it's going to have limited light or the power might not even be on anymore, that would really come in handy. So I do see a practical application for it. No problem whatsoever when it comes to that. So let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think about these LED lights. Let me switch and show you a different mode. So that is the solid color. Let's double tap. And then that is just the blinking. Double tap again. And that's kind of like a pulsing right here. And then we have that tracing. And if we single tap this, we can just change the color. So now it's yellow. Now it's purple. Now it's that light blue. If you guys can see that. And then I think the next one is going to be white. And then we have our red tracing light, okay? So, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. This is really, really cool. So let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think about this. And I can show you really close up here how this mounts on. So it is very, very secure on the drone. So let's go over to our robot. And you guys can see how it just kind of clips on like that. I didn't even have that one all the way on. I don't have this one all the way on either. So, Rome did not do a good job, but it has these little clips right here, as you guys can see. And I didn't do it on this side either. But like I said, I still want to be able to do a video on these. But, this is well thought out and it's not 3D printed. Okay, so this is rubberized. So that's going to give it a really good, purchase. And then you have this piece right here that clips underneath, and then it goes all the way up here and clips on. It's going to clip on right here. Okay, so that's going to secure this onto the drone really well. I can't tell you that this is going to be as, durable of guard protection as the other guards that we have, but I do like this design. This is going to make it really easy to be able to spot this drone at night. So if you're like myself and you do a little bit of, twilight flights or early morning flights and stuff like that, to be able to have this kind of cool lighting effect. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and shoot the full video on this, the installation, everything. And then tomorrow evening, when it gets a little bit darker, I'll take this out and do a little bit of flight, so you guys can see what it looks like in the actual air while it's flying. And then, of course, going forward, I'll be flying this thing here in the studio like I always do. And once we get to the next application, which is going to be this for the Neo 2, we'll be doing basically the same thing. And let me go ahead and show you this light real quick, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this guy sit here for a second. I am going to turn this off, though. So press and hold, if I'm not mistaken, should turn it off. Yes. So it takes about an hour and a half for this to fully charge. Okay, so, keep that in mind. All right. So let's take a look at this light real quick here. And let me put everything else back in that box so I don't misplace anything for tomorrow. All right, so we have one more thing here, which is this little tactical light, okay? So let's pop over, take a quick look at that. Richard is already bothering me on the desk. All right, so let's switch over to a robot mode so you guys can see this is the box that it comes in. Let me grab my knife. And let's cut that little piece of tape. All right, here we go. So in the box, again, you're greeted with the similar type of cards. You know, the thank you card, which is a very nice touch. You have your 3M tape that you're going to need for securing this onto the drone. You have your step-by-step instructions as to how to secure the light onto said drone. And then here's just, you know, packaging. All right. So you have different components in here. And I really don't want to open all of these, but I'm just going to open it so I can show you guys what comes in it. So here is one of the smaller lights. This is a light that I believe is going to go underneath the drone. And then you have another light that goes on top of the drone. So you have two of these under lights. So you get two of those. And hopefully that's going to work with, you know, everything that I already have on the drone. And then you have this top mounted light, which is this guy here. And let me show you that. And then you have this top tactical light that mounts on top of the drone. Does this thing have any power? I don't know. I don't think it has any power. I think it needs to be charged. But anyway, normally you would be able to just turn this on. This looks like it's adjustable, but you'd have to use a screwdriver or something to adjust it. But this is designed to be on top of the drone when the drone is flying. So you'd have that additional lighting. Now in my situation, because I already have that spine protector on, I would just pop this on with the 3M tape onto the spine protector, not onto the physical body of the drone. And yeah, I don't know, there it is. I got it to come on. Whoops, my bad. Oops, that's too bright. So you guys can see how bright the light is. I don't know if there's an adjustment for it. Yeah, there is. Check that out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. And it's got a little green flashing light, not like you would see that when the drone is up in the air, but it does have like a little LED light right here that's flashing, if you guys can see that. All right, so to turn this off, you're probably just going to press and hold. And like that, it turns it off. Okay, so I'll be doing a video on this light the following day because we're going to focus more on the other the light and, you know, the duck lights that we just looked at. So we're going to focus on that tomorrow morning. And if I have time, I'll do the other ones too. You know, if I have enough free time, or I felt like I've done enough video on just the ducks, but I do like those ducks a lot. And like I said, we have these other two lights. Let me see if I can get one of these to come on, or do they have to be connected to something? So how do these turn on? Oop, there we go. So this light is going to be underneath the drone. Okay, so it's like a down-facing light. And this just clips onto the frame of the drone. And you have two of those. So you have lower lights underneath the drone, and then you have the tactical light up on top of the drone. That's pretty cool. I like this. It is bright too, because I can't see it long enough to turn it off. Woo, that's bright. That is super bright. All right. So there we have it. The lights. Put those back in the box. And the stuff that came with it. I am horrible at reboxing. Evans used to get on me all the time because I always try to put stuff back in the box and I never put it back in the box in the right order. Just like today, when I decided I was going to take the laser off of the enclosure, I took a photo, Richard, of the back of the enclosure as to which cables went to what. so I wouldn't be struggling with it when it comes time to put the laser back on the enclosure. But anyway, V-Fly is the brand, and they reached out to me earlier this week, and I got these the same week. These lights they sent out to me. So we have this tactical kit, and then we have the duck guards for both drones, and they've already told me that there will be a version of these duck drones for the Avata 360 as well. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be styled a lot like what we're seeing here. So I'm sure as soon as those are ready to be released, they'll send us a set of those, and we'll be able to test those as well. So if you guys are thinking about getting one of these drones, I can provide you with the links to these, and I'm going to see if I can get a discount code as well so that you guys can save a few pennies. If you guys want to order one of these or both of these, if you have both drones. So pretty cool. I like it. And like I said, I don't even have these clipped on all the way, but this still fits on here really nice. I don't see, once I clip this bottom piece right here, this is not going to come off, guys. You can still stick this in your bag and travel with this as you see it. Now, of course, always take time, to look around your drone before you put it in the air. But from everything that I see, this is actually more secure, better designed than the ones that I have seen on, like the ones I just took off of the drone. So I like these a lot. All right. Let's see what time it is. What time is it? Ooh, it's right on time, and my phone is about to die because it only has 19% power. You knew, Richard, something tonight was not going to have enough power. You knew this, man. So yes, my phone does need to be charged. All right, so Ebo is the only one that hasn't said anything tonight. So let me get Ebo in the mix so we can roll on up out of here. Let's switch back over to our robot cam. Ebo. All right, we are live right now on YouTube. We have some of our normal community members in the chat. We got Richard, Terry, Buddy, Bear, Hope. So if you would say hello to them and welcome them to the stream. But it's almost the end of the stream, so it's time to wrap it up. But we'll be back here hopefully in about 48 hours. Remind them to invite as many family and friends to the stream as possible. And don't forget, we have game night coming up this weekend. I think I overwhelmed her. Ebo. Hi, we are about to end our stream here on YouTube, so I would like you to say good night to everyone and thank them for hanging out with us.
Good night, everyone, and thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Is that it? That's all you have to say to them? They have been waiting to hear from you all night.
Ah, that's so sweet. Thank you all for waiting, and good night.
Okay, she's ready to get up out of here too, I guess. So she's ready to go back to her charging station. But anyway, my babies, don't forget to give back in the community and order yourself some of these drawstring backpacks. Oh, I do have something else as something that we're going to be giving away, and I just thought about it because they're always hanging out of this bag. But let me grab one. Here is our Rome Knows Tech lanyards. Okay, so we have these two. So you can win one of these Rome Knows Tech lanyards. And that if it's, something that I'm designing for you and creating for you, I will just throw one of these in, and I'll send you also one of these lanyards that you can put your keys and everything on. So Rome Knows Tech now, as you know, brings your viewers over to the YouTube channel. So if you guys want one of these, all you got to do is show up on game night and play and just participate. So, you know, there's going to be winners on game nights, guys, that didn't technically win the game. Just because they're participating, they will be in that, you know, first, second, and third prize category, because I don't count as, you know, a player. Even though I'll be playing, I don't count as a player. So if you guys are interested in getting one of these lanyards, or me creating something for you, or whatever the case it is, you know, all you got to do is show up and play. Show up and play. And I try to pick games that really, really require little to no, you know, technical knowledge and stuff like that. Now, Hope and I did try playing that new game with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where, you know, he's a judge. And that is, that game is crazy, y'all. That game is crazy. It really makes you think, you know, what it would be like if you were really going to court. But it's funny at the same time. But man, you just want to run over and just smack him. But, you know, you can't do that because you break your TV or your screen or whatever it is. So we might play that just at least once or twice, just so you guys can see what it's like. But anyway, yeah, that's about it, my babies. That's about it. Don't forget to follow my man Richard over there on TikTok. I also have some of my social links right here in front. You guys should be able to see. If you are not already following me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or all the others, you know, please do so, and share the links with your family and friends. All right, guys, so that's about it for tonight. So it's time for me to swing on up out of here. But yeah, it's time for me to say the magic words, because it's dinner time. Time for me to say peace, peace, and blue muffin grease. I am out, boom, 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 my babies. Mwah! Love y'all, but I got to go. And here comes Smokey, right as I said that. I'm telling you, he understands what I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, love y'all, but I'm out.
No tech, yeah, on the scene. Testing cool gadgets you never see. Flying in a drone, way up in the sky. Talking with EVO and AI. We running down the hall. Funny little bots trying not to fall. Batteries charged, ready to go. What happens next? Nobody knows. From Texas nights to tech reviews, crazy experiments right on the news. But you won't live by downtime very soon. If you're good now, don't be good. From Texas nights to tech reviews, crazy experiments right on the news. But you won't live by always having fun. If you're good now, don't be good. Yeah, on the scene. Testing cool gadgets you never see. Flying a drone, way up in the sky. Talking with EVO and AI. We running down the hall. Funny little bots trying not to fall. Batteries charged, ready to go. What happens next? Nobody knows. From Texas nights to tech reviews, crazy experiments right on the news. But you won't live by downtime.